BTS, what is it? Why did we shoot it? And can you make it something engaging and interesting and maybe something more than just the behind the scenes? I recently uploaded a video where I shot a BTS video, and I'm going to walk you through just some of the processes, thinking, and what I did in order to do that. It's already on my channel, so if you haven't already, you can take a look, or I'll be showing some clips throughout this particular video. And if you stay till the end, you'll hear what I think are the two most important tips for a BTS video. Back in August, I was speaking with D&B Films about some projects we were currently doing, and whilst in conversation, they mentioned that they were shooting a fashion/model shoot with an agency, which is now called On Set. And it just seemed to coincide that I could be there on the day, and Dan invited me along, and I said yes. Dan shared with me a storyboard which had concepts, references, and the general idea for each of the scenes. So it was a particularly strong outline to begin with, and I knew exactly where they were heading with the concept. The role of BTS was going to be capturing some of the behind the scenes, basically filming the general activities around the set, as well as hopefully having some shots that may be used in the final piece. So what am I going to talk about? I think I'll start with preparation. So jumping straight in with equipment, I thought of using the R6 and my GH5. The reason being is I know it was a 35 or 30 degree plus day, and I know the R6 suffers with a little bit of overheating, so I thought, so in between takes, or if it would overheat, I would have the GH5 there. It wasn't just that, is that I also wanted to use my Anamorphic 35mm because I thought it would lend itself to the environment with all the lights getting in shot and flaring, and the general fashion vibe that they were going for. Lens choices are something that hopefully, if you have a collection of lenses or whether you're starting out, it's something that you will have put some thought and consideration into, and it can have a big impact on the day. So I went with the 50mm 1.2 for the portrait close-up, and then for the telephoto I went using the 100 to 300mm 5.6L, and it's again one of my favorite vintage lenses. I knew that I wasn't always going to be able to get in close to where the action was happening, and it would be really handy to have that telephoto. For the wides, I took my 11 to 16 Tokina 2.8, which I only used a little bit, but again, it's always nice to have a few establishers along the way. But for the majority, I think I used the 50mm, and the 35 is the only lens I used on the GH5. I did take the 24 to 70, but I don't think I used that, if at all. And I also did use the 85mm 1.8 on the Canon. All the Canon glasses is EF, because I haven't, unless I'm renting, use RF, because let's not get started about third-party lenses on the RF, because I'm not going to get involved in that buying RF lenses if Canon is not going to support them. Anyway, frame rates. Mostly between 50 frames per second and 25. Because I knew I was going to be cutting relatively quickly, 25 was sufficient, and where I needed the extra I used 50, and in some cases I shot 50 but used it on 25 on the timeline. So in case you wanted to speed ramp and or give that slightly faster feel on the shutter speed, then it was kind of covered for what I needed. Minor tip, don't get in front of the A camera. It may sound obvious, and in fact I think I did in a few places. It's bound to happen if you're running around and it's a bit of a running gun, but mostly speaking it's good to be aware of not getting into the A camera shot if at all possible. To gimbal or not to gimbal? I had brought my Ronin S to the set, but in the end I didn't use it. There was one already there with an A7S III or FX3, so it didn't seem to make sense to double up on the shots. I was very keen and eager to want to get a lot of variation, so I just changed the lens and stayed handheld. Even with the 100 to 300, I was handheld for those, so the stabilization on the R6 and kind of being relatively steady. And because I wasn't doing particularly long takes, it was fine, and there was always shots to use from that. People. It can't be stated enough that this is probably the most, or one of the most important parts of any shoot. Being able to work well with people and get on with whether it's the talent or the crew, it will just elevate whatever you do. And if you're having fun and they're having fun, I think it all works together for a more engaging day and a fun day. So if you can speak with people, get along with them, I think it just helps. So it kind of goes without saying, but I won't labor the point. Short takes. Now, some people may disagree with me on this one, but I don't think there was much merit in having super long takes on behind the scenes. Now, if you're shooting a documentary or something where maybe the long form content of it may be more useful, but if you know you're only going to be providing relatively a short form piece of content, I think variety of shots and shorter takes are going to be the way forward. Pick a moment of something that's happening and then take it and then move on. No need for 5-minute takes around a particular scene. I just think that's a little bit overkill and just more work to sift through on the edit. Now, I think it's really worth capturing moments that happen, moods, whether it's, laughter that happens on set or communications between director or art direction or talent. Any of those moments I think really work for behind the scenes, because that's what people are interested in seeing, as well as what's happening on the set. In this case, it might have been the catwalk. It may have been the models working with the director, just figuring out what's going on, trialing error, seeing how the camera op is working with the talent, whether it's the loud moments or the quiet moments and everything in between. I think it's worth capturing an array of feelings, emotions, or certain events that happen throughout the course of the day. For this, it was all just images. There was no audios. So in some instances, audio of people speaking, having discussions, miking and sound would be a very, it'd be completely another area of topic to get into, which can be a lot of value in the edit. But in the cases of what I'm talking about, it's just strictly the visuals. So here's the first of what I would consider the two most important aspects. Firstly, I may have hinted this in before, is the coverage of shots. Simply put, get a little bit of everything, whether it's the moments of pre-production, post-production, the setup, pack down, the technical aspects, the lighting. So whatever the event is that you're covering, it's just capturing a range of behind the scene moments. We talked about the moments that you would want to capture, but in terms of coverage, it's getting your wides, your close-ups, time lapses. It could be anything that you feel is relevant, because when it comes to the edit, you always want to see various views and angles, and if it's only one BTS that's on set, then it's good to quickly get around, move your feet, for example, if you don't want to change your lens, get closer to the action, but just make sure you capture the action if you can. The second of what I consider the two most important is shooting for the edit. Now, it could be that you're shooting and giving away the footage and someone else is going to be editing, or you yourself will be shooting and editing. In this particular case scenario, it was both. And I had spoken to D&B and how they were hoping to achieve what they wanted to achieve. So it was all pretty well worked out. That all said, I knew on the day then how I was going to shoot, because I knew roughly how I wanted the timeline to look already, and the rest of it was just seeing how the day went and filming things around that kind of idea. And if you are working in a case scenario where you're just shooting and handing those brushes over to an editor, then if possible, do speak to the editor, or obviously speak to whomever is in charge of the creative process, because they will instinctively guide you in what type of shooting you want to do. I really do enjoy shooting behind the scenes. It can be a lot of fun, and you actually can get some surprising moments in between that can work very well. So I definitely recommend always having a bit of BTS, and if you are shooting and you may think you're going to do a breakdown of scenes, or you have for example, a YouTube channel or any form of content, I think BTS is definitely a good way to go. These are a few items I thought would be of use to you, so if you would like to know anything more or have any technical questions, please do put them in the comment section below. And please don't forget to smash that like button, it really helps the channel and its growth. I've put links to D&B and On Set below if you'd like to check out more of their work. If you haven't seen the BTS video mentioned, it's on my channel. I'll put a link in the description. So I hope you've enjoyed, so please do stay tuned for anything else. I've got a few other videos, including a follow-up to my Anamorphic video, because I have had a new update on my Anamorphic adapter, and yeah, there's a few developments on that. So stay tuned and see you all soon. Thank you. Bye now.